everybody. Tonight I will be doing an ASMR whisper reading. I hope that you like it. What do you see when you look at a computer, at your own laptop? More precisely, you see a flat, thin, gray and black box. Less evidently, you see something to type on and look at. Nonetheless, even with the second perceptions included, what you are seeing is hardly the computer at all. That gray and black box happens to be a computer right now, right here and now, and maybe even an expensive computer. Nevertheless, it will soon be something so unlike a computer that it will be difficult even to give away. We will all discard our laptops within the next 5 years, even though they may still work perfectly. Even though the screens, keyboards, mice, and internet connections may still flawlessly perform their tasks. 50 years from now, early 21st century laptops will be oddities like the brass scientific tools of the late 19th century. The latter now appear more like the arcane accoutrements of alchemy, designed to measure phenomena whose existence we no longer even recognize. How can high-tech machines, each possessing more computing power than the entire Apollo space program, lose their value in such a short period of time? How can they transform so quickly from exciting, useful, and status-enhancing machines to complex pieces of junk? It's because of the nature of our perceptions themselves and the often visible interaction between those perceptions and the underlying complexity of the world. Your laptop is a note in a symphony currently being played by an orchestra of incalculable size. It's a very small part of a much greater whole. Most of its capacity resides beyond its hard shell. It maintains its function only because a vast array of other technologies are currently and harmoniously at play. It is fed, for example, by a power grid whose function is invisibly dependent on the stability of a myriad of complex physical, biological, economical, and interpersonal systems. The factories that make its parts are still in operation. The operating system that enables its function is based on those parts and not on others yet to be created. Its video hardware runs on the technology expected by the creative people who post their content on the web. Your laptop is in communication with a certain specified ecosystem of other devices and web servers. And finally, all this is made possible by an even less visible element, the social contract of trust, the interconnected and fundamentally honest political and economic systems that make the reliable electrical grid a reality. This interdependency of part on whole and visible in systems that work becomes starkly evident in systems that don't. The higher order surrounding systems that enable personal computing hardly exist at all in corrupt third world countries, so that the power lines, electrical switches, outlets, and all the other entities so hopefully and concretely indicative of such a grid are absent or compromised, and in fact make little contribution to the practical delivery of electricity to people's homes and factories. This makes perceiving the electronic and other devices that electricity theoretically enables as separate functional units frustrating at minimum and impossible at worst. This is partly because of technical insufficiency. The systems simply don't work, but it is also in no small part because of the lack of trust characteristic of systematically corrupt societies. To put it another way, what you perceive as your computer is like a single leaf on a tree in a forest, or even more accurately, like your fingers rubbing briefly across that leaf. A single leaf can be plucked from a branch. It can be perceived briefly as a single self-contained entity, but that perception misleads more than clarifies. In a few weeks, the leaf will crumble and dissolve. It would not have been there at all without the tree. It cannot continue to exist in the absence of the tree. This is the position of our laptops in relation to the world. So much of what they are resides outside their boundaries that the screen devices we hold on our laps can only maintain their computer-like facade for a few short years. Almost everything we see and hold is like that, although often not so evidently. We assume that we are objects or things when we look at the world, but that's not really how it is. Our evolved perceptual systems transform the interconnected, complex, multi-level world that we inhabit, not so much into things per se as into useful things, or their nemesis, precision makes the world sensibly manifest. That is not at all the same as perceiving objects. We don't see valueless entities and then attribute meaning to them. We perceive the meaning directly. We see floors to walk on and doors to duck through and chairs to sit on. It's for this reason that a beanbag and a stump both fall into the latter category, despite having little objectivity in common. We see rocks because we can throw them, and clouds because they can rain on us, and apples to eat, and the automobiles of other people to get in our way and annoy us. We see tools and obstacles, not objects or things. Furthermore, we see tools and obstacles as the handy level of analysis that makes them most useful or dangerous given our needs, abilities, and perceptual limitations. The world reveals itself to us as something to utilize and something to navigate through, not as something that merely is. We see the faces of the people we are talking to because we need to communicate with those people and cooperate with them. We don't see their microcosmic substructures, their cells, or their subcellular organelles, molecules and atoms that make up those cells. We don't see as well the macrocosm that surrounds them, the family members and friends that make up their immediate social circles, the economies they are embedded within, or the ecology that contains all of them. Finally, and equally importantly, we don't see them across time. We see them in the narrow, immediate, overwhelming now, instead of surrounded by the yesterdays and tomorrows that may be a more important part of them than whatever is currently and obviously manifest. And we have to see in this way or be overwhelmed. I think you can hear my dog snoring. That's Agnes. I'm so sorry. Goodness. I'm gonna make a bunch of noise if I try to stop. Agnes. 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 I can't even get her to wake up without moving. I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm gonna continue. When we look at the world, we perceive only what is enough for our plans and actions to work and for us to get by. What we inhabit then is this enough. That is a radical, functionalist, unconscious simplification of the world, and it's almost impossible for us not to mistake it for the world itself. But the objects we see are not simply there in the world for our simple, direct perceiving. They exist in a complex, multidimensional relationship to one another, not as self-evidently separate, bounded, independent objects. We perceive not them, but their functional utility, and in doing so, we make them sufficiently simple for sufficient understanding. It is for this reason that we must be precise in our aim. Absent that, we drown in the complexity of the world. This is true for our perceptions of ourselves, of our individual persons. We assume that we end at the surface of our skin because of the way that we perceive, but we can understand with a little thought the professional nature of that boundary. We shift what is inside our skin, so to speak, as the context we inhabit changes. Even when we do something as apparently simple as picking up a screwdriver, our brain automatically adjusts what it considers body to include. I'm going to turn my gain down so maybe the snoring doesn't come through so much. Maybe you can still hear me, but not the snoring now. Hopefully this works. The extensible boundaries of ourselves also expand to include other people, family members, lovers, and friends. A mother will sacrifice herself for her children. Is our father or son or wife or husband more or less integral to us than an arm or a leg? We can answer in part by asking, which would we rather lose? Which loss would we sacrifice more to avoid? We practice for such permanent extension, such permanent commitment by identifying with the fictional characters of books and movies. Their tragedies and triumphs rapidly and convincingly become ours. Sitting still in our seats, we nonetheless act out a multitude of alternative realities, extending ourselves experimentally, testing multiple potential paths before specifying the one we will actually take. Engrossed in a fictional world, we can even become things that don't really exist. In the blink of an eye, in the magic hall of a movie theater, we can become fantastical creatures. We sit in the dark before rapidly flickering images and become witches, superheroes, aliens, vampires, lions, elves, or extreme happens when we identify not with a character in a fictional drama, but with the whole group in a competition. Think of what happens when our favorite team wins or loses an important game against an arch rival. The winning goal will bring the whole network of fans to their feet before they think in unscripted unison. It is as if their many nervous systems are directly wired to the game unfolding in front of them. Fans take the victories and defeats of their teams very personally, even wearing the jerseys of their heroes, often celebrating their wins and losses more than any such events that actually occur in their day-to-day lives. This identification manifests itself deeply, even biochemically and neurologically. Vicarious experiences of winning and losing, for example, raise and lower testosterone levels among fans participating in the contest. Our capacity for identification is something that manifests itself at every level of our being. To the degree that we are patriotic, similarly, our country is not just important to us, it is us. We might even sacrifice our entire smaller individual selves in battle to maintain the integrity of our country. For much of history, such willingness to die has been regarded as something admirable and courageous as part of human duty. Paradoxically, that is a direct consequence not of our aggression, but of our extreme sociability and willingness to cooperate. If we can become not only ourselves but our families, teams, and countries, cooperation comes easily to us, relying on the same deeply innate mechanisms that drive us and other creatures to protect our very bodies. It is very difficult to make sense of the interconnected chaos of reality just by looking at it. It's a very complicated act, requiring perhaps half of our brains. Everything shifts and changes in the real world. Each hypothetically separate thing is made up of smaller, hypothetically separate things, and is simultaneously part of larger, hypothetically separate things. The boundaries between the levels and between different things themselves at a given level are neither clear nor self-evident objectively. They must be established pragmatically, and they retain their validity only under very narrow and specified conditions. The conscious illusion of complete and sufficient perception only sustains itself, for example, only remains sufficient for our purposes when everything goes according to plan. Under such circumstances, what we see is accurate enough so that there is no utility in looking further. To drive successfully, we don't have to understand or even perceive the complex machinery of our automobiles. The hidden complexity of our private cars only intrude on our consciousness when that machinery fails or when we collide unexpectedly with something or something with us, even in the case of mere mechanical failure. To say nothing of a serious accident, such intrusion is always felt, at least initially, as anxiety-provoking. That's a consequence of emergent uncertainty. A car, as we perceive it, is not a thing or an object. It is instead something that takes us somewhere we want to go. It is only when it stops taking us and going, in fact, that we perceive it much at all. It is only when a car quits suddenly or is involved in an accident and must be pulled over to the side of the road that we are forced to apprehend and analyze the myriad of parts that car's thing that goes. Depends on when our car fails, our incompetence with regards to its complexity is instantly revealed. That has practical consequences. We don't get to go where we were going, as well as psychological. Our peace of mind disappears along with our functioning vehicle. We must generally turn to the experts who inhabit garages and workshops to restore both functionality to our vehicle and simplicity to our perceptions. That's mechanic as psychologist. It is precisely then that we can understand, although we seldom deeply consider, the staggering low resolution quality of our vision and the inadequacy of our corresponding understanding. In a crisis when our thing no longer goes, we turn to those whose expertise far transcends ours to restore the match between our expected desire and what actually happens. This all means that the failure of our car can also force us to confront the uncertainty of the broader social context, which is usually invisible to us, in which the machine and mechanic are mere parts. Betrayed by our car, we come up against all the things we don't know, scattered and inattentive, too old. The limitations of all our perceptions of things themselves manifest themselves when something we can usually depend on in our simplified world breaks down. Then the more complex world that was always there, invisible and conveniently ignored, makes its presence known. It is then that the walled garden we archetypically inhabit reveals its hidden but ever-present snakes. To be continued. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry for the dog snoring. I hope it doesn't come through and run the video or run your ASMR